Imagine a future where the turbulent waters of the West Philippine Sea are calm, where the waves gently lap against the shore, symbolizing peace and tranquility. Picture the Philippines and China, once locked in a bitter dispute, now partners in progress, working hand in hand to build a brighter future for their people. What if the answer to decades of tension lies not in confrontation but in cooperation? What if the vibrant marine life beneath the waves could inspire a new way of thinking? What if the key to unlocking the region's vast potential lies in a simple yet radical idea sharing not just resources but also responsibilities and benefits? The idea of the Philippines and China dividing the West Philippine Sea might seem far-fetched, almost like a dream, but dreams can sometimes pave the way for reality. After all, the region has been a flashpoint for territorial disputes for decades, with waves of conflict crashing against the shores of diplomacy. But what if such an agreement is the key to unlocking lasting peace and prosperity? What if the diverse marine species could thrive under a new era of shared stewardship? Could a shared West Philippine Sea usher in a new era of cooperation and stability for the entire region? Could it become a model for resolving other global conflicts? The West Philippine Sea is not just a body of water. It is a vibrant ecosystem, teeming with life and possibilities. It is a lifeline for millions of people who depend on its rich fishing grounds. Fishermen from both nations could work side by side, ensuring sustainable practices. It holds vast reserves of oil and gas, promising energy security and economic growth. Joint ventures could unlock these resources for mutual benefit. The sea is also a critical shipping route, connecting East Asia with the rest of the world. Shared management could ensure safe and efficient passage for all. However, conflicting claims over islands, reefs, and maritime boundaries have turned this vital waterway into a potential flashpoint. The stakes are high, but so are the rewards of peace. For decades, the Philippines and China have been locked in a complex and often tense standoff over the West Philippine Sea. Dialogue and diplomacy could pave the way for a new understanding. This dispute has cast a long shadow over the region, hindering cooperation and fueling mistrust. But just as schools of fish swim together in harmony, so too could nations find common ground. The potential for miscalculation and escalation is a constant concern, threatening the stability of one of the world's most important economic and strategic waterways. Yet, with shared vision and effort, a peaceful and prosperous future is within reach. The roots of the West Philippine Sea dispute run deep, entangled in a complex web of history, nationalism, and geopolitics. The fervor of national pride and the strategic importance of these waters have only added fuel to the fire. For centuries, the Philippines and China have laid claim to various islands and reefs in this maritime expanse. These claims are not just about land, but also about the rich resources and strategic advantages they offer. The discovery of vast oil and gas reserves beneath the seabed in the 20th century only intensified the competition for control. These resources are seen as vital for the energy security and economic growth of the claimant nations. China, with its growing economic and military might, has become increasingly assertive in its claims, deploying naval forces and building artificial islands to bolster its presence, marked by its controversial 9-dash line encompassing most of the South China Sea. This demarcation, which appears on Chinese maps, is a source of significant tension. This claim, based on historical maps and documents, is disputed by the Philippines and other Southeast Asian nations, who see it as an overreach and a violation of their sovereignty. These nations argue for a rules-based maritime order under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, which provides a legal framework for maritime boundaries and resource rights. The Philippines, a nation of islands heavily reliant on the bounty of the sea, has felt increasingly vulnerable to China's growing presence in its exclusive economic zone. This zone is crucial for the Philippines' fishing industry and food security. Chinese fishing fleets have been accused of encroaching on Philippine waters, depleting fish stocks, and damaging fragile marine ecosystems. These activities have sparked outrage and protests in the Philippines. This tense standoff has led to numerous incidents at sea, including collisions and confrontations that have heightened the risk of conflict. From confrontations between fishing vessels to standoffs between naval patrols, These incidents underscore the volatility of the situation and the potential for escalation. The risk of escalation is real, and the potential for a minor incident to spiral into a wider conflict is a constant worry for the region and the world. Diplomatic efforts continue, but the path to a peaceful resolution remains fraught with challenges. Despite the historical baggage and current tensions, the idea of the Philippines and China dividing the West Philippine Sea offers tantalizing possibilities. Imagine a future where, instead of warships and fishing disputes, the sea is a platform for joint exploration, sustainable development, and shared prosperity. A joint development agreement could unlock the immense economic potential of the region, benefiting both nations. The Philippines, with its long coastline and strategic location, could become a hub for energy production, fisheries management, and maritime tourism. China, with its capital and technological expertise, could invest in infrastructure projects, creating jobs and boosting economic growth. Imagine a future where Filipino and Chinese fishermen work side by side, sharing knowledge and resources to ensure the long-term sustainability of the fisheries. Imagine joint ventures exploring the vast oil and gas reserves, generating wealth and energy security for both nations. Picture bustling ports handling cargo from around the world, fueled by the engine of Sino-Philippine cooperation. The economic benefits of cooperation extend beyond the two nations. A stable and prosperous West Philippine Sea would be a boon for the entire region, fostering trade, investment, and economic integration. It would create a virtuous cycle of development, lifting millions out of poverty and creating a more secure and prosperous future for all. Section 4. The rule of law, navigating troubled waters. Any agreement to divide the West Philippine Sea must be firmly grounded in international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. UNCLOS provides the legal framework for determining maritime boundaries, exclusive economic zones, and the rights and obligations of states in their maritime spaces. The Philippines has consistently invoked UNCLOS to support its claims in the West Philippine Sea, especially following the landmark 2016 arbitral tribunal ruling that invalidated China's expansive 9-line claim. China, while rejecting the tribunal's ruling, is nevertheless a signatory to UNCLOS and has a vested interest in upholding the international rule of law. A joint development agreement negotiated within the framework of UNCLOS would not only be legally sound, but would also enhance the legitimacy of both nations' claims in the eyes of the international community. It would demonstrate a commitment to dialogue, diplomacy, and the peaceful resolution of disputes. By adhering to international law, the Philippines and China can create a stable and predictable environment for investment, development, and economic cooperation. It would send a powerful signal to the world that the two nations are committed to resolving their differences peacefully and building a rules-based order in the region. Section 5. The challenges of sharing rocks beneath the surface. While the potential benefits of a shared West Philippine Sea are undeniably attractive, the path to achieving this vision is fraught with challenges. The idea of shared resources and mutual benefits is appealing, but the reality is much more complicated. Decades of mistrust, competing claims, and nationalist sentiments present formidable obstacles to overcome. These deep-seated issues have been brewing for generations, making it difficult to find common ground. One of the most significant challenges lies in defining the terms of any agreement. The maritime boundaries are not just lines on a map, they represent national pride and sovereignty. How would the maritime boundaries be drawn? This question is not just about geography, but also about history, politics, and national identity. How would resources be allocated and managed? The sea is rich in resources like oil, gas, and fish, and deciding who gets what is a contentious issue. How would disputes be resolved? Legal frameworks and international laws can provide guidance, but they're often subject to interpretation. These are complex questions with no easy answers, requiring careful negotiation, compromise, and a willingness to set aside historical grievances. Diplomats must navigate a maze of legal, political, and emotional hurdles. Another challenge is the issue of enforcement. Ensuring that all parties adhere to the agreement is crucial for its success. Any agreement is only as good as the willingness of both parties to abide by its terms. Trust is a fragile commodity in international relations. Given the history of mistrust and the potential for differing interpretations, mechanisms for monitoring compliance and resolving disputes will be crucial. Effective monitoring systems can help build trust and ensure transparency. The involvement of external actors such as the United States, Japan, and other regional powers adds another layer of complexity. These countries have their own interests and can influence the outcome in various ways. These actors have their own strategic interests in the South China Sea and could exert influence that either supports or undermines the agreement. Their involvement can be both a boon and a bane. Overcoming these challenges will require strong political will, innovative diplomacy, and perhaps most importantly, a shared vision for the future. Leaders must be willing to take bold steps and think creatively. Both the Philippines and China must be willing to look beyond the immediate gains and see the long-term benefits of cooperation. Only through mutual understanding and respect can a sustainable solution be found.